Last time on Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
So I see that you're using the new mic. Are you happy with the performance of your new microphone?
Well, I'm using. Yeah, I picked up a travel mic. It's a Meteor. I think that's what it is. It's a
Samson.
Samson, not Samsung, but a Samson Meteor mic. I typically use a Blue Snowball, which I know you use as well.
Correct.
For my home, but I thought I picked this one up for basically for our travels and for other travels I may have. And we couldn't quite get the two to mesh together in my mixing board. I'll work on that, but I'm going to see how this episode sounds with me using it here and you using yours there.
Yeah. Well, it folds up very nicely, and
yes.
So
well, it's kind of a grower, not a shower, you know.
All right. So I think before we get and
now the conclusion.
The wormhole does bring them our way, doesn't it?
Everyone wants a piece of the new frontier.
And I'm sure you've already tried to sell it to a few.
You don't know what any of this is about, do you? You just don't get it.
You know, the usual piercing is not always in the ear lobe, but when it comes to this show, it's definitely the ears. It's all about the lobes on Audio Umox with your hosts, Captain John Christopher, and me,
Simon Van Gelder.
Simon Van Gelder. Welcome back to the show. Gosh, great.
It's been a little while.
Great response to last episode, which was about the coladas. Geez, what was that called? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. It was great response, though. We had a lot of downloads, and here we go. Content, previously published episodes. Oh, right. Malaprop coladas, of course.
Yes. Yes.
If you like malaprop coladas or getting lost in space.
There you go.
God, I'm sweltering in here, by the way. I'm
sorry.
I'm in Studio B, which would be not my usual studio in my house because it's 97 degrees at 8:30 p.m.
Wow.
Yeah, but guess what? Malaprop Coladas is right up there with being one of our top downloaded episodes. Right up there with
awesome.
Death. Right up there with Death and Dax's.
Yes.
And Ma, where's my pa?
So maybe we're gaining a little traction.
I think we're turning a corner, my friend.
All right.
I really do. I
Good.
think we're going from half a listener to 2.5 listeners. What do you think?
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And if to all the listeners out there, we'll hit you up again at the end of the episode. But if you like us, tell your friends.
How else can they like us and show that they like us?
There you go.
No, I mean, I'm asking you. There you go. No, how else can they tell? Go ahead. I usually do this part. You do it.
Well, I am not nearly as articulate as you when it comes to these things.
I'm sorry. That's so funny.
Obviously.
It was funny. Go ahead.
So obviously, sharing us with your friends is one way. We do have a Twitter feed.
A Conway Twittier.
And please feel free to like and add us to your Twitter and retweet our tweets. That will help direct people to us. And probably most importantly or most impactful, is if you give us a rating, a review on iTunes or wherever you download our podcast.
That's right.
Give us just a review of what you think. Give us hopefully 4 stars or be honest with us. Be honest with us, but we hope you're having fun. And if you are, Mr. Van Gelder has made a commitment that if we get a few more of those, he's going to sweeten the pot a little bit. There will be some House of Garrick ware, maybe on the line.
You know what? That's it. Just to reiterate what that means, and thank you, John. That was great. You're very eloquent, my friend. No, is that if we were to get 10, count them, 10 positive reviews by Halloween of 2017, we will start a Facebook page and we will start giving away House of Garrick t-shirts. I can't guarantee they'll be made out of burlap from a 1970s
a seat cover.
Yeah,
we
cover.
Need actually we absolutely have to make maybe a poncho. We could get one of those saddle blanket ponchos and just have House of Garrick stitched on it.
We may do that as a big fundraiser, for the show.
auction off
for Christmas. That's hey, that's a great idea. But we're going to commission some House of Garrick t-shirts for Audio Umox. Hey, who says Greatest Gen has to have all the fun? They're part of a big network. They always, the guys at the Greatest Gen podcast, which, by the way, in about 10 weeks are going to start covering DS9 and trying to put us out of business. They're part of Maximum Fun Network, so they're part of a network. It's so funny because those two guys, which I adore, they're very funny, both of them, Adam and Ben. They're great, but they're part of Maximum Fun Network, and they make fun of the podcasts that are above them that are part of what they call Big Rod, which is like the Roddenberry Anointed podcast, like Mission Log, which is so serious and so boring that nobody... I mean, I listened to Mission Log for the first 3 or 4 years, and I couldn't take it anymore. And when Greatest Gen came along, I was like, oh, thank goodness. And then I thought, well, shit, we can do that. So here we are. And we may not be as funny or the same funny as Ben and Adam, but we can hold our own. And you know what? Ben and Adam are like 15 years younger than us, I think. And, we're talking about... We're the OG ST.
That's right.
We're the OG ST. Am I right?
This was on when we were in college, and so we were watching it when it first aired.
And I was...
When we were in college, and just out of college, I guess.
And I was technically alive when the original series was on for a year or so. So
yes.
Oh, I'm giving away my age. We're ancient.
We are.
Hey, speaking of reviews, though, before we get to the show, and I think we're purposely putting off the show because it's maybe not.
Well, we don't need to spend a ton of time other than making fun of
True.
A few things. So
all right, well, we'll get to that. But let me just
get to that.
We have another. Okay, so by the way, I'm getting back to my point, which is this. I'm getting back to my point, and then we got to get to the Tranya, and then we got to get to the show. But first, we have another review, my friend. We have two now. The first one was from Brian H. 1968. He posted in May, and it was a 4-star review called Lobes, Tranya, and Laughs. Go look at it on iTunes. We have a new one from July 8th. Ready for this? Are you sitting down, John?
I am.
What are you sitting? I don't need to know where you're sitting. 5 stars, definitely worth a listen from Finney Can Help. The content is quite fun! ! Parts of the show got me laughing out loud. Other parts made me shake my head. The sound quality is quite good and getting better. They thoughtfully addressed some concerns in episode 9 and Death and Daxes. They didn't have to do that, and I'm quite impressed. Definitely worth a listen! ! Finney Can Help. Thank you.
Awesome.
I think he's referring to, and we don't have to rehash this because you can go back, as he said in episode 9, and listen, but he's referring to where he perceived us being kind of overtly sexist, and actually we were being kind of meta-sexist. We were just trying to comment on the sexism of Star Trek even 25 years ago or 20 years ago on DS9, although John and I will be the first to admit we're still a little bit piggish. I mean, come on, we're nearly 50. we're the product of our time. I mean, dude, Finney, dude. And by the way, I think it's funny that Finney, by the way, because we all know that Ben Finney was the guy who nearly got Captain Kirk court-martialed and removed from command in a fantastic original series episode called, strangely enough, Court Martial. Ben Finney. So here's Finney Can Help. And Finney, thank you so much. And also, by the way, we see you on Twitter. We know you're there. And we thank you and we appreciate your resharing and spreading the word about the show. And get this, John.
Yes.
One last bit of housekeeping before we get to the Tranya. We're getting close to 200 followers on Twitter.
Awesome.
At Umox Podcast.
So all those hope all those followers endeavor to download the podcast as well.
It would be so nice if they did. Our downloads, I'm not going to lie, our downloads are increasing, but they're still a tad anemic. We could use some more fans. So if you're enjoying the show or just think, you know what, it's pretty good. These guys are all right. They mean well. I'll send it on to my friends. Post it on your LinkedIn and your Facebook and your Twitter and your, I don't know, you could even Snapchat about it and all that. But
yes.
But enough of the housekeeping.
But not the first one.
Not the first chat. No.
Only the second one. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm getting ahead of ahead of ourselves.
I am going to stop with the housekeeping because generally I do the housekeeping, though John, your good offices today on doing some of the housekeeping. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
It's my pleasure.
All right, then I'm going to turn it over to Captain John Christopher, who's
before you do.
That's right. But first,
the Tranya.
The Tranya.
The Tranya. What do you got there, Captain John?
I did text you about this. I created a drink. I'm calling it a Ferrari Bellini. So it's so in my fridge was Ocean Spray is making some fruit beverages, non-alcoholic, called it's a Ocean Spray.
Your wife was drinking those when I came to visit. I remember that. So, I tried to tempt her with something, and she said, "No, yeah. I've got these non-alcoholic."
Exactly. So I had to, of course, increase the horsepower, hence the name Ferrari. And champagne was not enough, and I'm not going to drink a champagne drink this late on a work night. So I went with a little bit of peach schnapps to add a little more peach to the Bellini, and then a couple of hits of vodka, maybe a couple fingers of vodka.
Let me ask you, how are those fingers in you?
They're very good. They're very good. Thank you very much. After three.
Oh, snap. It looks tasty. You sent me a picture.
It is good. It's good. It's refreshing. It actually a bit reminiscent of, and maybe in honor of how 80s, 90s this episode is, of one of my drinks back then, which was, I was a Fuzzy Navel guy for a time. Do you remember that?
Oh my gosh, I forgot about Fuzzy Navels.
Yeah. How about that?
Man, I haven't seen a legit Fuzzy Navel in 20 years. Oh, wait. I meant the drink, I think.
Yeah, of course you did.
Of course I did. Well, my Tranya is not nearly as creative as yours, Sean. But it's different. It's not a martini at all. It is actually a classic gin and tonic.
G&T.
Mm-hmm.
Can't go wrong with that.
G&T, the next generation, right here. I'm into the Rang Pure Tanqueray, and that's not what this is, but I'm going to, just to let the cat out of the bag, it's Thursday night. Tomorrow I got a 3/4 day of work, and then the family, we're going to have a family reunion at a massive lake in our home state, and we're meeting my sister and her family, and I'm picking up a fifth of the Rang Pure and a bunch of tonic to go along and some limes to go along with that trip, so...
Nice.
Yeah.
Please send my best to the family.
I will do so. It's so funny. I'm having like the worst. It's so funny. I'm having the worst week or two with work. And I know we need to get to the show, but real quick, I mean, I assume one reason people listen is they want to not just hear about an episode of Star Trek they could watch themselves, but they want to hear about us. So I'm going to the lake this weekend. Guess where I was last weekend?
Where were you?
I was hip deep in the Current River in the Ozarks of Missouri, and I caught my first rainbow trout with a dry fly with fly fishing rod. I caught it my first time.
Impressive.
Oh, thank you. It was about a 10-inch rainbow trout. It was beautiful. I let it go. It was not big enough to eat, but with my rod, this is all sounding rather phallic. But with my rod, not my dry fly, but with my regular rod, I caught a couple of more. And my crew that I was with, we ended up eating a couple of beautiful rainbow trout, and camping and kayaking. And I'll tell you real quick, and I want to throw a shout out if I could.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So, and this is embarrassing to admit. You know how you say because you get on the river, there's no Wi-Fi, there's no internet. You're out there,
Sure.
and and once the fire goes down, everybody gets in their tent. You're alone. It's dark, right? You're an Army vet. You know what I'm talking about, and there's nothing dark like 0 dark 30. Am I right?
That is true.
Was that the words? I don't know. I'm just making that.
It's always darkest before the dawn, I've always heard.
Or the dawn. But the point being, I'm out there and it's like rivet, and it's crickets and cicadas and just it's quiet, but it's noisy as hell for me because I'm used to the hum of an air conditioner and listening to a podcast of some sort to go to sleep, right? So I'm laying there and going, don't leave your phone alone. I had a charger, like a battery pack for my phone. So I'm like, leave it alone. Don't listen to that. You're in nature. But it was so loud. Nature was so loud. I had to put in my earbuds after half an hour because I couldn't sleep. And no, I did not like masturbatorily listen to you and me together on our show. So I wanted to throw out a couple of shows I listened to real quick. Is that okay?
Sure.
One, of course, being the aforementioned Greatest Gen. Look, if you want one of the, I'm going to throw it out there. The funniest show about the Greatest Generation is out there is the Greatest Gen, Greatest Generation, Star Trek: The Greatest Generation. Adam and Ben, they're hilarious. They're getting ready to get on our territory, so I'm going to stop throwing them a lot of
free pub
after this, like they care because like they're huge now. But that I listened to that, but here's who I really wanted to throw some accolades, recommendations to, and that would be Astonishing Legends with Scott Philbrook and Forrest Burgess. If you're into creepy shit, weird stuff, I mean everything from What Happened to Amelia Earhart to Bigfoot to ghosts to exorcism to UFOs, these guys are the shiz. Astonishing Legends. And if you listen and become a fan, I need you to get on Twitter and go to Scott in particular and say at Astonishing Legends, you'll find him, Scott Philbrook, and say Simon from the Audio Umox podcast said you gotta listen and tell them that you enjoyed it, if you would please. So I listened to those when I was camping. So this weekend though it'll be a little different. It's going to be at a lake. We're going to be in a condo on the lake, and we're going to be powerboating in the day. So I doubt I'll be listening to many podcasts. I'll probably just be listening to the sound of ice cubes hitting my glass. But anyway, gosh, I've gone on way too long. I'm so sorry, John.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
You want to hit the Shap now?
Let's dive in. Let's dive in.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Captain John Christopher with this week's episode of DS9.
I was going to lead in with you usually have some catchy thing about are your lobes tingling, and I was.
Did you apply the numbing lotion?
I was going to mention that Joel Brooks's lobes are probably burning red. It will be by the end of this episode because that poor guy. This is not his best work.
I don't agree. I can't. I'm so glad you said that because I have notes to talk about how great Joel Brooks is in spite of the material.
Okay, we'll get there.
I'm so excited. This is good. We're gonna have some real conflict and drama.
Right.
All right. Go, Captain. Why don't you go ahead with the synopses, and I'll chime in as necessary.
Okay. So I won't do the preview, but just say it all starts out with Commander Sisko putting on his dress uniform, getting ready, and
a little poignant there.
And that was kind of a nice moment.
What do you think that means? What he said? Because he says to Jake, "I haven't worn this uniform in 3 years."
That was, I'm sure, that was his wife's funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he's lost a few pounds there.
And he said it's a little baggy, but that's okay
Yeah.
because baggy is hot on Major.
Right.
If you just look at Major Kira's pants in the first few episodes, they're a little. And, hey, Finney, don't get on us. Don't. I'm telling you.
See, I was going to go a completely different direction, just thinking that Cisco just has not had time to go see Garrick to have him, put some darts in there and add a couple of
maybe some dodge darts,
burlap sack patches on the elbows or something.
A little bit of the Krakow treatment. Am I right or am I right?
That's right. So
some darts, some dodge darts for sure. A little bit of Detroit tailoring. Go. Sorry,
yes.
go.
All right. The conversation kind of spins a bit when Commander Cisco sees his discovers that his son is learning about girls from his good friend Nog, which Ferengi aren't known for their proper treatment of women, and so Cisco kindly says, "Hey, I'm gonna when I get back from this first contact thing, I'm gonna have to do some damage control. Where we definitely need to have a sit down." Tomorrow morning, first thing, him seeing that his son is 14 and about to go off the rails with Nog. So,
gosh, Cisco is so intolerant. It doesn't.
A Ferengi.
It doesn't work, does it?
Him being intolerant.
It doesn't work. He can be tolerant of Tusk 2.0. This is how they live. But by golly, if the Ferengi want to influence his son,
there's a line there. He's never trusted that Ferengi boy.
Dude, that is so racist. I can't even believe how racist.
Has he ever said Nog's name?
No.
He just calls him the Ferengi boy. The Ferengi, and the Ferengi boy.
I have to go back, but I think it's a bit disingenuous. But all right, let's move on.
Anyway, that is interesting. What I find probably more interesting is the fact that they never address that anywhere else in the show. I mean, it's one of those little dangling things. You have to assume that they had that talk at some point in the future, but it's never addressed again in the episode, other than
what is it? I'm sorry.
Jake and Cisco and the talk. They don't have the talk about girls.
Okay, all right. I guess so. Okay.
Well, they don't in this episode, to be sure.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
All right. It just seems that it's just one of those that it occurred a couple of times so far in the first season where there's just this random interaction that has nothing to do with anything in the plot, and then it just kind of goes away.
I don't think it totally goes away, and I mean for this episode, yes, but it doesn't totally go away for a while.
Okay. I look forward to
if
that.
you look at the next
If you
look at the next episode, the Nagus, there's even more expository about Jake and Eggnog. So,
all right.
I did not make enough GNT to get through
we
this.
may have to take a break and make a refill.
I'm all for it because I've had a shitty week at work.
So you want to do that right now?
Do you?
I'm in the kitchen, so it takes me 3 minutes.
It's going to take me about 4. All right, we're going to pause the show. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it'll seem like nothing to you, but for us, it'll be about 5 minutes.
All right, we'll take a break. And we're back.
To quote the great Forrest Burgess from Astonishing Legends. Go ahead, sir.
So now it's time for this first contact, and everyone's all excited except poor Bashir is left to play the fool yet again.
God!
As he has somehow
not packed his dress uni.
Packed his dress uniform.
Let me go on this quick aside. You were in the Army. We've been through this before. Had you not packed your dress greens, what would have happened to you?
Well, I wouldn't have. Okay, so I was stationed in Germany.
Sure. Germany.
When I moved to Germany,
You mean Germany.
I had everything. I had it, well,
Sieben.
basically, yeah.
Did you have
Sieben.
Sieben?
I had 7 pairs of socks.
I love the Sieben. I listened to that episode over and over, and you're like, Sieben. Can you
Sieben.
do it one more time?
7.
Oh my God, that's funny. All right, go. I'll shut up.
And he acted like he's certain he packed it and he brought it, but he just can't find it. And I've seen, what these quarters look like. There's like 5 places it could be. It's not like he could turn the whole quarters over looking for it.
Do you think it's under his triangular pillow? It looks
yes,
so
maybe.
uncomfortable.
And here's another question, maybe a little too technical. Can't he just replicate one?
Dude, I was sitting there thinking, okay, it's like, computer, may I have a first lieutenant dress uniform for sciences and medicine, please? And then, boom, there it is. And then he gets it adjusted.
That your
You know
Michael-
what? Here, I'll
that
just
sounds-
say this. I ordered a suit from Indochino, by the way. And I
Yeah.
have a linen suit from Indochino, right? And guess what?
It was delivered in 3.5 minutes.
Well, no, actually, it ran a little late because it got held up in customs in Beijing, which sucks.
Okay.
And
yeah.
I ordered it for a speaking engagement I have in Curacao, and it came like the day before. And the pants were my wife measured me, right? You have to be measured, and then you plug all this in,
Right.
and she'd measured me, but my belly and my waist not quite right. It was too big. It was way too big. But I wore it for the thing in Curacao. But I had to go get it tailored when I came back to America, and they took out almost 3/4 of an inch.
Wow.
And Indochino, by the way, Indochino, if you would like to be a sponsor of Umok's podcast,
We'll trade you for suits.
oh, absolutely, we would. By golly, Astonishing Legends did that. No, we would, but they took that out, and guess what? Indochino will reimburse me for the tailoring.
Oh wow.
So
Very nice.
if I can do that in the 21st century, how come Dr. Bashir can't basically use the same material that is replicated into fake Klingon gach and make it into a dress uni?
Yeah, that's inexplicable. I don't know. I don't know the answer. It's a riddle of the ages.
We've only been talking for almost half an hour and haven't gotten to the show, so I'll shut up. Go.
No, we're talking some about the show. So the door opens and here are the Wadi, and my first
Here it comes.
they're apparently a lost colony of plus-size figure skaters.
See, that is not the easiest go-to. Mine would have been, it's a bunch of mullet heads, but
Okay, so now the mullet, I'm thinking that in the Gamma Quadrant, Wadi is their equivalent of what we used to call BACFs.
you got to explain what a BACF is, man.
Okay, so Simon and I, we attended undergraduate school in a small, rural, yet liberal arts college.
That's where we met, brother.
Yeah. However, a large portion of the student population came from a small radius within about 20 miles of.
I'd say 80% of the school came from within 20 miles.
Yeah.
Fair?
So there were So there were quite a few.
We were not among that cohort.
Right. That were very, very rural, very.
Nothing wrong with that.
Country, but there were also some that were very backward and redneck, and so that group, we coined the phrase BACF, and
You did.
Thank you.
What was you?
That just stood for
just say it.
Backward ass country folk. Only it wasn't folk.
Man,
And
I can't believe you didn't have the courage of your convictions to say it.
backward ass country fucks.
There
Okay,
you go.
they
Boop,
were
boop,
a
boop,
bunch
boop.
of damn rednecks, is what they were, and they had. It wasn't. It had nothing to do with, what clothes they wore, what vehicles they drove. We drove beat up vehicles,
Oh my
and we
God.
didn't have any money, and it just had to do with being.
Truth be told, you
Proud-
were from a small
proud-
town, and I was from a big town. To be honest
Yes.
with you,
Yes, I was from a very small town.
and I was from a town of
Yeah.
at the time of about a
John
500,000.
Mellencamp made fun of my town. That's how small
He
it was.
did.
No, I don't think so.
Did he offer to paint the mother pink?
Probably.
Did he suck on a chili dog outside the Tasty Freeze?
There was a Tasty Freeze in the town. to give
Did you suck on a chili dog? What?
I did have a chili dog. I've eaten chili dogs.
Did you suck on it? That's the question. Answer
did
the question.
Asked and answered. I did not suck on a chili dog on the day question.
Oh, that's the worst lyric ever. Who would sing that? Sucking on chili dog.
I'm sure it was a double entendre, a poorly phrased one, but that's my guess. But okay, so where were we?
I don't know.
We meet the Waddy.
You can always tell the episode is not maybe the best when we just talk about other shiz as much as possible. But go ahead.
So we meet the Waddy, and all of the Starfleet people and Kira.
Oh, Kira.
Are
whose hair looks
all,
spectacular, by the way, in a non-sexist
yeah, look
way.
very nice.
She looks
Look
great.
very nice. We're all just straight and narrow, trying to be all super formal. It being a first contact situation. Yet the Waddy are want to go see the games, but a little more about the Waddy. So I did want to mention that in this episode, as always, the Roddenberry and that team of writers are way ahead of their time when it comes to technology and the like, because the popularity of facial tattoos had not come anywhere close to being acceptable yet here they are with an entire race of people who all have facial tattoos.
You make a good point.
I do.
Fallow and the Waddy.
Yes. Is that a band?
Fallow and the Waddy is right up there with Folly and the Hunter. And if you like malaprop coladas and getting lost in space, look at our last episode 9, I believe.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
We're never going to get through this one, man.
I know. So the other thing I wanted to mention about the outfits, I'm guessing they're from Garrick's more flamboyant half brother.
Oh, you mean Floyd Garrick or do you mean
I was thinking it was Therick.
Derek? Got it.
Yes, or Derek could be. Anyway, I'm sorry.
It's like Dirk and Dak Rambo. Remember those guys?
No, I don't remember that. I'm sorry.
Okay. A couple of twins who were in soap operas back in the 80s.
Okay.
I remember things I shouldn't. Keep going, sir.
So the Waddy want to just play games, and so they end up.
Girls just want to have fun.
There you go. So they end up going, instead of doing a formal meet and greet, and Cisco is all upset. He's like, first contact ain't what it used to be, or I don't remember what his direct quote is.
Something like that. He was pretty disappointed, and he's sitting in the bar with. Are we at that point where he's sitting at the bar talking to Quark about it?
Right. So they're playing Dabo, and they have to find money, and the Waddy first show up with, I've got some leftover Pocky from when I was in Japan. That's those chocolate covered pretzels, breadstick looking things.
You lost me on
Sorry,
that one.
lost you. So okay.
A Pocky reference is. No,
Maybe
but did you notice the acting on Avery Brooks here? when he yawns at this point.
I didn't notice it specifically.
It just looks incredibly fake. Avery Brooks has a tendency to act so well that you forget he's acting, and then within a minute, he's acting in such a way that you're like, he's completely acting. He yawned in a way that was like, yawn, 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 yawn. I'm so tired. I'm going to bed. Quark. Keep them entertained. Bye-bye.
Call me.
It was not good.
O'Brien!
O'Brien! I just drank a cup of hot lava. Well, see, you had a note for me about Kira in this later on, where you're like, she's very acty, and it's true. She's is a little acty in this.
Yes.
She reminds both of us of somebody we knew in college who was very acty in her roles. I think you know who I mean.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of reminds me of her a lot, by the way, John.
Yeah.
A lot.
In
a good way and not a good way. She's a good actress when at times, but sometimes she's just a little obvious.
Yeah.
But we better move this along.
Okay,
we need to move along home, my friend.
Yeah, so we're about to. So once Cisco leaves, then Quark is endeavors to win some of his money back by rigging the Dabo table.
When does he not?
And then gets caught in the act. And so the fallow Waddy
I take a blue pill for that, but go ahead.
Decides said, "Oh, I've got have I got a game for you?" And then poof, they're playing this new game called Chula. And so they start the game. So he opens this box and then magically there's this multi-level. It's
a multi-level marketing scheme.
Yes.
Amway is what you're trying to say.
It is indeed. And there's four pieces on there, and they have to figure out. Quark apparently has to figure out how to play the game on the go,
on the
fly, if you will. And so
I will.
So he's just he's rolling the dice. Well, unbeknownst to him, each one of those little pawns on the game, each game piece is an actual human being, and they're all members of the staff. And when the game starts, they magically get teleported to this inner workings of the game, if you will, and they're having to play along.
Okay.
The first real problem I have is for Quark and for all the people who are actually playing the game.
Yeah.
It's really just a 24th century game of Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Yeah.
They're just rolling and pretending because they can't see the people inside the game that are having to actually solve the puzzles. It's just them sitting there waiting. They're not looking at anything. I think they're just sitting there staring at the dice waiting to determine whether they won or lost. Is that is that a proper analysis?
I'm with you on that. I smell what you're stepping in. Yeah.
All right. So I wouldn't think that any race of people would find that interesting.
Except the Wadi.
There you go. Yeah. And it's got to be incredibly boring for the Wadi because they know the end of the game at the beginning.
Which we'll find out at the end of the show. Right. Exactly. That's a good point.
Anyway. So
which is a hole in the show because by the way, folks, if you don't realize, this is like frequently regarded as one of the worst episodes of DS9 and one of the worst episodes in general of all of Star Trek.
Yeah. So the first puzzle is they roll the dice, and Cisco and Bashir and Dax and Kira are all in this room with this little kid who's playing some kind of space hopscotch.
I'm sorry, you jumped. I mean, it's like all of a sudden, Cisco's asleep, and then all of a sudden he's out of his jammies and he's in a full dress, or not a full dress uniform. He's in his BDUs with a tricorder on his hip.
Yeah, that is a little peculiar, isn't it?
Okay, so wait. Okay, fine. They take him out of where he is and put him in his uniform, get him dressed, but they give him a tricorder, but not a phaser. Weird.
Yes.
All right.
And probably for safety purposes.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
For the game.
Yeah, so go for it.
They don't want him just blasting his way through everything. Now, why did they give him a tricorder? That's
I don't get
he's
that.
He's not a science officer. He's a
command. He's
command and ops kind of guy. So yeah, I don't know. That makes no sense. Bashir must, in some language, be the word for buffoon. Is that correct?
Oh, jeez. They make him out to be
he's
such
like
an idiot.
yelling and flailing about, trying to wake himself up, thinking that that'll wake himself up. Very acty and just ridiculous. So,
by the way, you don't want to be acty in John Christopher's mind. If he says you're acty, you're pretty well screwing
it's
up.
Pretty bad. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I'm typically pretty willing to suspend disbelief, but that one was really bad. So he's flailing about. The four of them find each other and then find their way to the first. Actually, it's the second Shat. They were able to leapfrog the first Shat.
Wait, is this William Shat or is this?
It's a pile of Shat.
No, that's the whole episode.
So
Are we going to get through this ever? I don't know.
Yes, we will. So they're at the number 2. They're
they're at the number 2 Shat.
And it's this little girl playing hopscotch, and she's saying,
Alamarine,
count to
4.
Catamaran, count to 4, catamaran, and 3 more, catamaran.
If you could see me, catamaran.
Salute like John Jr.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, you had to go there with John. Oh,
sorry.
Man.
Sorry.
Oh.
Anyway, so they have to figure it out, and they figure it's such a low level here that they figure it out pretty quickly and determine that they need to mimic the little baby's moves, little kids' moves, and they get right through. Okay, so now we're on to.
It's an adorable scene, to be honest with you.
It is
the way Cisco. Well, when Cisco kind of makes this quick look on his face, like, all right. And he just does it. And then Kira, Miss Tough.
She looks so annoyed by it.
She is, but she does it. And and then you got Dax, who's just kind of like, you know what? I've lived 8, 9 lifetimes. I've been through humiliations. I've been through. I have been in the sex pits of New York City. This is nothing to me. This Alamarine thing. It's good. I like that scene. Go ahead.
All right. So they get through, and they're through that second Shat. They're on to Shat 3.
Taking a Shat.
Atamarine.
Atamarine.
Attaboy.
Hey, eat a meringue.
So they're on to the next Shat. And
I think it's funny. You can call it a Shat.
Well, isn't that what it's called?
No, it's a Shap. But you can call it a Shat. I mean, did you think that's what it was? Was Shat?
I forgot.
I'm dying. Oh, God. Oh, jeez. You thought it was a shit. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this episode.
It was great being here.
We'll see you next episode. The Negus, we're gone.
Okay, so Shap. So I was thinking it could have gone one of two ways. It could have been Shat, or it could have been something about Shaft. But
shut your mouth.
oh, the Tranya.
Oh my word! I hope everybody else thinks this is funny as we do. I bet when I'm editing this tomorrow, I'll be like, "That's not that funny. What am I laughing about?" Oh my gosh, my eyes are watering. I'm dying. Go ahead, John. Go ahead, man. Oh.
Okay, so they get past that Shap with a P, and then they cut to, I think around this time they cut back to Odo, who's realizing, Jake comes down looking for his dad, and can't find him, and Odo starts looking around and realizes that Cisco is not on the station anywhere. He can't be found. He can't find any record of him leaving.
Right.
And so he starts kind of freaking out,
right?
Not knowing what's going on.
Like you
do, especially when you're the person responsible for the station security.
Right. Remember, he's not a constable. He's the chief of security.
That's right. Constable is just a term of endearment from the commander, correct?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
The cop on the beat.
Yeah. So he then goes and finds newbie. Who's the new guy? Prim.
Oh, Primin. Yeah.
Yeah, Primin. Yeah.
And proper.
And proper. Yeah.
He's hilarious. He's like a corn tone Starfleet.
He is. So that whole interchange.
Good morning, Counselor Odo. I'm Mr. Haney.
If anything makes Bashir not look like the biggest idiot on the station, it's Primin.
It's George Primin.
He pulls the big old piece of wheat out of between his teeth. Oh yeah. Anyway, so Odo decides he's going to get on the Wadi ship to try and find Commander Cisco. He notices some interesting, unusual energy signatures, so he's going to go on there.
Right, and might I add that Odo's makeup finally looks right.
I didn't notice it, so that's a good thing.
He's no longer a burn victim. He looks good. It's good. Go.
Yeah. So he beams aboard their ship. He notices finds out where the energy is. He walks through. And poof, he's back in Quark's in the middle of the game. So about this time, this is when Quark and Odo both begin to recognize that these players on the game, on the playing surface, are not just little pieces. They are representative of actual people, and so Quark's like freaking out,
getting a tad bit of conscience,
more than a tad bit, because on this Shap, when he just discovers that's the one with the lights flying around, and they just randomly, I don't even remember how they got past that one. I think it just killed somebody, and then kills Bashir, and then they get to go through. Is that how it works?
I think so. Yeah.
And then they have to decide, again, they have to pick someone who's going to be sacrificed. And this is when Quark just really loses his shiz and starts
overacting.
Yeah. And begging for help, begging, for this game to be over, and the Wadi finally relent, and he thinks they're gonna just end the game, but he just says, the computer will decide for you, and then they're in this in the final Shap, the shortcut to the end.
I love that word, Shap.
Shut your mouth. Shap.
He's a bad mother. He's a bad Wadi.
Yeah, and it's also great, to know that the mullet, that our generation was not the only one.
Business in the front, party in the back.
Yeah, and I started thinking, I don't know if there are any sports fans, college football fans, but the one person who's keeping that hairstyle alive on the entire planet is Coach Mike Gundy from Oklahoma State.
Oh, gee. Well,
he
I'm a
still
grown
wears
ass man.
that. He still wears that.
Yeah, he's from my hometown, Mike Gundy. And he's a grown ass man. That's all I'm going to say. If you don't get what we're talking about, Google Mike Gundy, and I'm a grown ass man.
Yeah, that's a great video.
It's
and then and just look up Mike Gundy mullet. His claim is that the mullet is extremely valuable as a marketing asset.
He's only off by 2 letters.
Yeah. So we're now to the last Shap. Quark decides to take the shortcut. As the gambling man he is, he realizes he doesn't know enough about the game, so doing it all at once is their best chance at success, as opposed to going these multiple levels and
in the meantime, our players are like on a cliff or something.
They are on a cliff, and poor Dax has been has had her ankle broken.
But there's a great line in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll paraphrase this. Sorry if I'm jumping, but I'll paraphrase. But like Cisco saying to Dax, I'm going to help you, and Dax is like, as one of her former lives, you know better, blah 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 blah, and he's like, if you had been injured, I would have left you, and Cisco basically says, well, lucky for me, you're not the one who's injured, or I'm not the one who's injured, right? That's what he says. But there's a great line after that where he's like, okay, Dax and I are going to struggle through. Major, you go do your thing. And Major Kira, of course, engages her incredible, beautiful head of hair and says, I'm going to help you. And he's like, Major, I gave you a direct order. And she's like, well, court-martial me. And he's like, I can't. You're not in Starfleet. And he goes, Dax says, if I were a superior officer, I'd court-martial both of you. But I love that scene. I think that alone makes this episode salvageable. It's good. It shows the dynamic right there. It's like Kira's like, I may not be Starfleet,
right,
but I'm as honorable.
But I'm part of the team.
I'm as honorable as the rest of you, and Alan Moraine to you too.
That's right. So I completely forgot about the smoking party, which was the third Shap.
I missed it too. What? Oh my God, you're right. They go to the cocktail party, and everybody's like doing the doob.
Yeah, and they're all laughing at him, and this was another one of those things that just threw me off, because is it Fallow? Is he the head waddy?
Yeah, he's the head waddy.
So Fallow's there. How can he possibly be in 2 places at the same time? Is this some kind of a?
So okay, it's fine.
So the third Shap, I just want that was a kind of interesting where they had to drink something to save their own lives so they wouldn't die.
Well, we've all been there, haven't we?
Got to drink the Kool-Aid, man.
I mean,
head to the final Shap.
Right, the final Shap. Dick Shap.
And they're on the cliff. Dax has her broken ankle or injured ankle.
I don't think it's broken, frankly.
No.
I think it's not even sprained. I think she's just kind of...
just twisted it.
Yeah, maybe a little.
Yeah. All right. So, but she can't jump across the crevasse. And
it's certainly not a chasm.
And Cisco, of course, throws the rock to test the depth, and that's such a staid tool to say, oh, this is really, really deep. Oh, let's throw a rock and listen for how long it takes for it to hit the bottom. I found that kind of silly.
It was cheap.
Yeah. So they're trying to find their way around, and then obviously they can't, so they fall in, and game over. And they magically appear in Quark's, and everyone is excited. Quark thinks he's won. Come to find out he hasn't, so he has to, turn his stones back over to the Wadi.
Don't we all?
and Cisco's trying to get some answers, because he's been through this harrowing experience. So So he's kind of yelling at what the hell's going on here, people, and of course they find out that Quark is partly to blame. Quark. Then they kind of go on about their business, and Quark is trying to find a way to license this game so he can have it at the in his hollow suites, right?
Right.
And then they go on about their lives, and that's where the Wadi.
It's funny because according to my research, one of my favorite shows, aside from Star Trek, is The Prisoner with Patrick McGowan. And Michael Piller, who co-created the show, said this episode, the late great Michael Piller, said that this episode was inspired by the episode Checkmate of The Prisoner, and in some early versions of the script, the characters were placed in a surreal village similar to the village featured in that series, but it didn't happen. And I'm reading, everything I read about this on Memory Alpha shows that they had suffered some unexpected budget overages at this point in the season, and it really shows up on screen the way they did the show. I think this episode, which gets maligned as one of the worst ever, gets really hammered, and I think frankly it wasn't a bad concept. The execution was hampered by low budget and perhaps some shortcuts by the writers and the directing.
Yeah. And for me, makeup and costume design really pegs it into that early 1990s, and so and not that that's out of character or out of sync with Star Trek. I mean, if you as a group of shows, the shows in the 60s are very reflective of fashion in the 60s. It's just that fashion choice from the early 90s is a very unfortunate one. And so that's why one of the reasons I poked so much fun at it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, okay, let's break it down in like a minute each. Okay, new species, first contact made. The species is like, we're going to play games. Oh, wait, the guy who runs the games on this side of the galaxy is cheating. We're going to give him a little taste of his own medicine, and we're going to drag the top 4 officers on the ship or on the station with us. Hilarity ensues. Is that about right?
Yes. Yeah, something like that.
Okay. When it's all over, is there any character growth? Not really, other than I think there's one bit of character growth. You know what it is? It's Kira saying, I may only be a Bajoran administrator. I didn't sign up for this, but ultimately she did. She's decided she is standing toe-to-toe, shoulder-to-shoulder, cheek to jowl with Starfleet. No?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, not bad. I mean, again, it's not obviously not resolved in this episode, but the interaction between Sisko and Jake, I think, is endearing.
Is there ever any Sisko and Jake that's not endearing?
No, not yet.
Because Avery Brooks made everything, and later when Cirroc Lofton was older, those two together never ever had a bad foot forward, and never a false note between Jake and Sisko, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Unassailable.
So that was good. And then and you wanted to talk about was it My Sister Sam? What role was
really?
he in?
Oh, Joel Brooks.
Joel Brooks.
The actor. Oh, he was in My Sister Sam. Oh, that's so sad.
Was it?
Well, was he? Because that's so sad.
Yeah,
because
I
of course the actress who was murdered. But Joel Brooks, who's a good actor, by the way, and he played Fallow. I think he's very good in this. Actually, he makes the material better than it is. He can do more with kind of a heavy-lidded look than a lot of actors can do with 10 pages of lines. and I think he does a fine job with what he's given to work with, and that includes his costume, his makeup, etc., etc. Joel Brooks, quite good. Probably a guy who should have been bigger than he ever became as an actor, but it's no disgrace that he didn't become a superstar. He's certainly a very good actor, and he does a fine job here. I mean, whenever he's on screen, whenever he's on screen, I'm watching.
There you go.
What about you? Did you like him or?
I thought he was fine. I just kept looking and seeing, as I was looking, I was seeing him in all those bit parts. Of course, that Manchu mustache. But every time I see him, I think of all the bit parts that he did on virtually every show that I saw growing up. He was a lawyer, or he was a judge, or he was a doctor, or
he was an Italian medic on MASH.
Yeah,
remember that?
It was always with a few exceptions, he wasn't like a recurring character. He was just that guy, and it always makes me think of who was it? Was it Louis C.K. was always talking about, God ran out of extras in your life, and
I love that.
Start sending
one
them,
of God's extras,
sending them back, and
I once said
it's
that
like
to
I was just the bus driver.
I once said that to an ex-girlfriend. I saw somebody and I said, "Oh, there's one of God's extras," and she totally missed the point. Thought I was like, "How dare you?
Sacrilegious.
Do you mean that they're like expendable people?" I'm like, no. It means that like God puts these people in roles.
Spheres of influence. Anyway, that's where I saw him, and he did an adequate job. But to your earlier point, it was so obvious that they were cutting so many corners on the script, on the execution, on the makeup and wardrobe. I mean, it was, they probably stole those outfits from Battle of the Network Stars or something.
Oh my God. Well, here's what's funny about that, though, by the way. This episode was nominated for an Emmy Award for Outstanding Individual Achievement in Hairstyling.
Oh my God.
Yes, the mullets were nominated.
That is funny.
Let's boil this one down to its essence, though. So, New people show up. They're trying to put their best foot forward. The new people get wind of how Quark is. They throw him into a game. The game has really no stakes, but nobody knows that till the end. And then at the end, everybody shows up and goes, "Oh, ha, 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 ha. There were no stakes, but Quark, I hope you learned a lesson." Yada, yada, yada.
Right.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Shall we assign some gold press platinum?
Some.
Yeah. Question before you finish.
Yes.
Is it as bad as everybody says it is?
No.
It isn't, is it?
No. I would say it's 2. I would give it two bars.
Yeah, I'm with you. 2 bars of gold press platinum. It's funny because when you first said, "Okay, it's time for the next one," I was like, "Oh shit, let's move along home." But you know what?
Yeah.
It's 2 bars, and actually, if they'd had the budget and maybe had made 1 or 2 little incremental changes, I'd probably think this was a 3-star episode, or 3-bar episode. I'm going to give it a 2 bars as well, just like you.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I was thinking of those episodes where in the original series where Captain Kirk is in some octagon fighting some alien creature,
like the Gamesters of Triskelion.
Yeah, there you go. And something like that. This is very similar to that, except that one, of course, was fight to the death. And
right. The stakes here were very low. I never felt like anybody was going to die. I never felt like anybody was going to die.
True. Yeah, if they had put like 1 extra in the mix, I would have. Yeah, it would. Raise the stakes for me. But yeah, I thought they were going to figure their way out somehow. But
no, really. Yeah.
Anyway, it was just okay. no huge step forward for character development in my eyes, and
No.
it,
So two bars each, eh?
there you go.
Well, what about A Little Deep Sex 9? Was there anything in this that was hot or romantic or in any way caught your eye in that regard?
Not particularly, to be honest. No.
I struggle with this one, The Deep Sex 9, because there's a difference between being prurient and going, oh, did you see Kira's ass in this one? And that's not that. Although, by the way, lovely.
Yes.
Yeah. I did not see anything that was particularly romantic or chemistry soaked in this one.
Yeah, this was all about that game and the plot, and I mean,
What's about that base?
Obviously,
no trouble.
Obviously, some attractive people as well.
I think Joel Brooks is attractive, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah.
What do we got here?
Can you get a look forward, back,
other way,
to the right, this way? You can't see her very well. How about that?
Who is that?
An extra.
Oh, is that a Dabo girl?
No, I think she's a Waddy.
Oh, a hot Waddy. There was a hot Waddy. And
Waddy.
We've all had a hot Waddy if we're lucky. I mean, there was a hot Waddy or two in there, but no. That exceeds the parameters. I mean, just to say there's somebody pretty or attractive, that's not what Deep Sex 9 is about. So I'd say no. So you say no?
I say no.
All right. So both of us, we're 2 bars each on Gold Press Platinum. We're both like a no Deep Sex 9. Final thoughts on on this episode?
I have none. Glad to move on to the next one.
You want to move along home?
I'm going to move along home.
All right then. So we're going to move along home from allegedly the worst episode of the first season and perhaps one of the top or bottom 5 of the entire Star Trek canon to next week's episode, which of course is The Nagus.
The Nagus.
What do you think of that?
I have not seen it yet.
Well, The Nagus,
and my mind may be refreshed when I watch it.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far, but I think that The Nagus. I mean, okay, just to The Nagus is interesting in that with the sudden death of Grand Nagus Zek, Quark becomes, get ready for this, Quark, the bartender, becomes the new leader of the Ferengi Alliance, but he also becomes a target for murder. But this is the turning point for the Ferengi in the entire Star Trek canon. Quark appearing in DS9 as being more benign than the TNG and foolhardy and ridiculous Ferengis.
Yes.
But this is the episode where they take a hard left turn with the Ferengis, and it's called The Nagus. And we didn't mention it in this episode, but I thought the winning thing about Move Along Home was probably that Odo was Odo. His makeup looked good, his scenes were solid, his command of what was going on was really good as a character, and we see that further in the next episode, episode 11, The Nagus.
Very good.
Well, I am Simon Van Gelder. He's John
Christopher.
Captain John Christopher to you. And you've been listening to Audio Umox. We're on the Twitter at Umox Podcast. And if you want us to create a Facebook page and also start giving away T-shirts constructed by the House of Garrick, all you have to do is to make sure there's 8 more positive reviews before Halloween 2017. At this recording, it's late July. There's plenty of time for you to go post something and bring 7 of your friends along and say, you've got to listen to the show and post a positive review. Positive review in our regards is 3 stars or above. That's all it takes. And just say why you like it. But that's what's going to happen. But our own John Christopher, who's an artist in his own right, will get with Garrick himself and create some House of Garrick couture just for our fans who are listening to the show. Anything else, my friend, before we sign off on this particular
I
long-winded
think-
episode?
I think we're ready to close. All right.
All right, my friend.
So with that, take care, pal.
Take care, my friend. And again, next week, next episode, the Nagus.
And until then,
I am Simon Van Gelder, and he is.
Captain John Christopher.
And until next time, the docking ring is
Closed.
Your home is important. That's why Geico helps make it easy to save on condo insurance. Because home is more than just a place. Home is where you took minimalism too far because there's only one chair in your entire condo and your only entertainment is one card. Not even a deck of cards, but a single card. And all your guests have to share one plate and one fork, but you're convinced that less stuff means more freedom. The Geico Insurance Agency could help protect the overly minimalist broom closet you call home. Call Geico and see how easy it is to switch and save on condo insurance.
You do it right to find the best deals around. Lowe's is here to help with savings throughout the store. Shop Cobalt Tool Days and take advantage of great values on tools and accessories, like $70 off a Cobalt 24-volt max variable speed brushless cordless impact driver, now $99. Thinking of updating your bath? Save during our kitchen and bath event with up to 40% off select bath essentials, including vanities, faucets, shower heads, and more. Whatever's on your to-do list, do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid through 7/17 U.S. only.